Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky again made an appeal for more help from the West as it tries to ward off a Russian invasion. CBS News crews on the ground in Ukraine report seeing guns being handed out to civilians to help in the fight. On Friday, President Joe Biden approved an additional $350 million worth of weapons to send to Ukraine. To talk more about Ukraine's efforts, I'd like to bring in General Philip Breedlove. He is the former Supreme Allied Commander for NATO and a distinguished professor of international affairs at Georgia Tech. Welcome. Thank you for being here. So tell us, how is Ukraine maintaining its defense of Kyiv and other key cities, and how sustainable is this strategy?
Two very good questions, Lana. Thanks for having me on. So it seems that Ukraine has done a wonderful job of sort of arranging a defense in depth so that they can keep the Russian advance under pressure from when it comes across the border to when it gets closer to Kyiv. And what that's allowing the Ukrainians to do is harass and attrit those forces before they come into contact. And this is, I think, a good result of what they've done by creating their territorial forces and now actually really just arming the populace. It makes the entire measure of Ukraine a problem for Russia.
And if Kyiv were to fall to Russia, what would that mean for the U.S. and NATO in terms of level of involvement in this conflict? Might it change public opinion?
Well, that's hard to predict. It might. Clearly how Russia would do that, and if they did that in a particularly brutal way, like they did in eastern Syria using barrel bombs and other discriminate weapons of terror, that could be a problem. But my guess is that Russia will not try to actually take Kyiv, rather to encircle it and then begin to go in to try to find those people that they want to find. As many will tell you, urban warfare just soaks up troops, and that is a big price to pay for Russia to try to go in and do door-to-door battle in Kyiv.
The people that they try to find, you mentioned, number one on that list, according to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, is Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. But still, he has decided to remain there. He's also asked Turkey to block Russian military vessels from traveling into the Black Sea. If Turkey decides to do this, how might that affect Russia's offensive?
Well, clearly, if Turkey chose to do that, it would be a big deal. That was not the case in 14, and that was not the case in 08. And Turkey would not go out on a ledge like that unless it had amazing assurances of support from the rest of NATO and the United States, because Turkey would be ill-advised to take on Russia there and stand alone like Ukraine is having to stand alone now. So that would be a big step. But using the Montreux Convention to address the reinsertion or the resupply of Russian naval components already in the Black Sea, that would be a big problem for Russia.
General Breedlove, as you've seen this unfold, it feels like we have been told exactly what was going to happen, maybe not exactly when it was going to happen, but it does seem like in a lot of ways things have all played out according to what we were reporting many days ago, weeks ago. Have you been surprised by the Russian attack or Ukraine's defense?
So yes and no. You're right. We were looking, many of us, at a northern attack against Kyiv, a central attack through the Donbass, and then some form of attack along the southern coast. Maybe a surprise there was the Russian naval infantry attacks into Odessa and what's going on there. Two things have surprised me. In the first 2 days, Russia fired a lot of missiles, more than I expected, and struck many, many military sites, and as you saw, missed and hit a lot of civilian sites as well. And the density of those first couple of missile attacks across all of the air defense pieces in Ukraine was a surprise. And then the second surprise, and we should be very, very careful not to get overly optimistic, but the second pleasant surprise is how hard the Ukrainian forces are fighting. Mm-hmm. And they're having some successes. the hammer strokes have not fallen yet. Big armor is left to come, and how and when Mr. Putin commits that big armor could make a difference. There are rumors now that there are at least 2 armored thrusts already starting to move, and those are going to be big problems for our Ukrainian brothers and sisters. But again, Ukraine has fought hard, and I think it has frustrated Russia and specifically frustrated Mr. Putin.
All right. General Philip Breedlove, thank you so much.
Thank you.